Thank you for listening and welcome to the Life Podcast, a proud member of the Eventide Entertainment Podcast Network. I'm your host, Don Smith. Travis Charles is in the studio this week to pick on his friends and talk about war reenactments and many other things. If you enjoy the show, like and follow the Life 1069 on Facebook and Don Smith Comedy on Twitter, or tune in live on Wednesdays from noon to 2 p.m. on WWSU 106.9 FM, or you can stream the show live at WWSU1069.org.
The brutal presence overwhelms me. The brutal presence overwhelms me.
All right, we are, it is, where the hell are we? It is Wednesday. It is, what time? It's noon. I am not with it at all today. You're listening to Life Radio Show. I'm your host, Don Smith, or I may not be. I'm really not sure at this point. I've really been slacking off on booking guests in here, and, it's Valentine's Day, and everybody has an excuse. Joe Robinette was supposed to be in. He's got to do stuff with his wife, and I don't understand that at all. John Morris was going to be in, and he, I guess, has to do stuff by himself.
He's working.
Oh, okay, that's his excuse.
He has a legit excuse.
Okay, I thought he was just, dating him, dating himself.
Or he just can't walk anymore.
Because that's what I told Joe. I said, it's okay. John and Travis are coming in. They're sad and lonely and have nowhere to go. So, Travis Charles.
I appreciate that.
Hey, no problem.
What's Valentine's Day again?
Well, it's actually it's Ash Wednesday too. So we'll just say we celebrate that because
okay.
Actually, while I'm married, so
Fat Tuesday leads into Ash Wednesday.
I think so, something like that.
Yeah.
Was it Fat Tuesday yesterday? I don't know.
Yeah, and what's tomorrow, like Skinny Thursday? I don't even know how it works.
I don't know. Well, I've never celebrated Skinny Thursday.
Yeah, neither have I.
Skinny anything, really. Travis Charles is my guest today. Everybody else had dates.
Yeah.
So how's it going, Travis?
Well, lonely. It's going pretty good, man. I don't know. Just kind of doing a lot of stuff, writing a lot. I don't know. Just kind of.
Well, that's good. I heard you had a pretty good set closing out Wiley Sunday Comics this past week.
I will pat myself on my own back sometimes. I thought I did pretty well.
Okay, good. That's good because somebody told me you didn't do well.
Who?
Like, I'm just kidding.
What's his name? Ed. No.
Yep. You and Ed. That's going to be.
Yeah.
I see some folks stepping outside the club.
He's going to lose. You know what I hate? I really do. Is no matter if it's a podcast, if we're talking in person or whatever, his stupid name comes up all the time. And it's like, I don't know why it happens. But
you guys just seem to have a rivalry,
and it's an unwarranted rivalry. It's like he apparently just thought I wasn't funny because he had only seen me do open mics, and when I go to an open mic, I don't put 100% in because
it's an open mic.
I'm trying new stuff,
yeah,
and I'm trying to reword something because I want to hear it out loud. Doing it in your house is different, but when there's even a slight bit of an audience, if you just get it out of your mouth, your brain works differently because people are listening, if that makes any sense. So sometimes I'm just up there getting the word and the pattern down. I don't care if you laugh. And that's all he saw for like months. Then he finally saw me at Sugar Melons, do what I'm good at. And then he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna shut up now. You funny. You funny." Like I'm like, "What did you think?" Like, dude, I've been doing this for a long time. Like, I'm not whatever. So yeah, I like Ed.
Yeah. And then he added hashtag kneecaps.
Hashtag kneecaps. That stupid joke.
For those of you unaware, Ed John has a kneecaps joke that Travis just doesn't think's all that funny.
No, and I fixed it, and then he unfixed it, and then made the revised version of his stupid joke dumber. Like,
well, that's what that's what comic workshops are about. Is so that you can offer advice so that they'll ignore it and do their joke their way they want to anyway.
And he's the king of unsolicited advice as well. So he'll just start spouting off whatever he read in the book he had that week.
But enough about Ed.
Yeah. I wish he was here.
That would be more fun.
It would
more
be.
fun to
It would
have
be
you
like
two
yelling
back
at
and
a
forth.
very, very, very low key Kanye West.
I don't know what that means.
He gets free. He gets free. Free name droppings. That's good.
Yeah. Well, it's all kinds of droppings. He gets all kinds of droppings for free.
Yeah.
Anyway, for folks that have been listening to the show, I've been talking about trying to get back into World of Warcraft. Not to change subject, because that's something I've actually played that game since like 2005.
Okay.
Like way back after that. I started like at the first expansion, and every now and then I get bored with it.
Okay.
So I've been trying to get back into it, and a lot of times when you get a game like that has so many different angles and facets that if you're bored with it, try playing it a different way.
Okay.
Try playing a different aspect of it. So I've been trying to get into the role-playing aspect of it. And I realized last night.
Like real life role playing?
No, not like not LARPing. Not that kind of
You're
stuff.
You're a wild LARPer.
I'm not Mike Shea. But
Does he do that?
He's a pirate LARPer.
Does he do that?
2 weeks in the summer, he goes out to Pennsylvania. There's a pirate LARPing thing out. Well, it's an all-out LARPing, but he's a pirate.
Okay. Is he like Shmee? Is he like Shmee? Is he?
I haven't gotten that in depth with it. But
I can imagine him in this big ass pirate costume, just going, "Arr!" Like I don't even. That's so funny. We love you, Mike.
But yeah, I've been trying to get into the role playing aspect of it, where basically you log on, you are your character, and you do everything in character. And I realized last night I can't do it. I cannot take it seriously.
So are you doing it like? So did you have to talk?
Yeah,
I never played the game.
You have a little. Well, it's an interesting game just because there's so many different aspects of it.
So you're playing live with other people, but you're talking in your character.
Yes.
Okay, that's goofy.
And the reason, that's the reason I can't do it. I logged on last night, and where my character happened to be when I logged out last time, where I logged on, there was a group of like 5 people, all sitting and talking. These are their characters. And it is some of the most boring crap. It's like, you know what? This is actually not that boring a game, but you guys just made it boring.
You can make it
Congratulations.
You should do it like the old school chat rooms when you pop in. Just go ASL just to see like age, sex, location, so you can know who you're dealing with.
But
they're like 45 mom's basement.
Just out of curiosity, I started clicking on their profiles to look at and it's like a resume for role playing. 7 years experience as a serious, mature role player. It's like, oh, you've been doing this for 7 years. I'd have killed myself 5 years ago.
Okay, here's the thing. Because
I'm not knocking anybody that enjoys doing this. If that's your thing, that's fine. But I'm just saying I can't do it.
You have the mind of an adult who has responsibilities. Okay.
Which even with that, I can see wanting to escape from
But
it.
You also have theater and stand-up background, and you still find it dumb. So imagine these people who are really they're not accountants. Right. They're not like bankers. You know, they're single people who don't have a woman in their life.
Have to be.
And like, that's just their fun. Like I wouldn't do it. There's too much other things to do in like real life.
Right. I thought about trying it just as a new way to come at the game. And after last night, I was like, nope, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go back to playing the game as the game is. What if you pick
the wrong voice and everybody's like, why do you sound like that? And you're like, I don't know. Like, I'm a troll.
Yeah, but isn't that what they sound like? I don't know. I've never met one.
Or you need to get the biggest, meanest character and just do the most feminine voice for it. Like, hey, guys, let's talk.
Yeah, but now the fun thing, I will say the funny thing about going into these, because they have different servers for role playing. They have different servers for different things you can go into. And there's one particular town you go to on one particular server, and it is basically a big online orgy. Not a joke. I mean, the characters running around naked. There are characters dancing up on tables, and it's like, what is going on? I'm trying, and you have quests that you have to go in there and get, and you're walking past.
And are they talking while they're doing this?
Oh, yeah, they're having a ball.
Okay, now I wish I could just like go to someone's house who had the game, but like take me to this area. Like I want to see that. Like so you should you should.
Here's something you can do. Go to YouTube,
Okay,
and look up Pixel Cat Gamer.
Pixel Cat Gamer.
He actually, what he does is he records video of him playing the game, and him and some of his friends get together and they troll these serious RP people.
Okay.
I mean, they'll just go up and start messing with them. And some of it's dumb, but some of it's downright hilarious. Some of it just cracks me up. I think because I play the game and I've seen these people on there, and I've been thinking to myself, somebody needs to go mess with them. And this guy does it and records it. So check out Pixel Cat Gamer on YouTube if you get a chance and you feel like seeing what some of these people are actually about, because they're.
I mean, that seems like fun. Like, that seems like that'd be the only reason I would play those games was to do something like that. Because I'm not interested in playing the game. But if I could go, like, find people and just mess with them, that would probably be fun. And then record it and put it on YouTube.
Yeah, there you go.
Because, like, the last game I played was, like, in Nintendo 64's Mario Kart. Like.
So, yeah, a couple years ago.
Yeah, you know, like late 90s, 90s, 97, 98. So, yeah, I've never been a big video game guy. I mean, I know what they are. I sell a ton of them, but
I've never been huge into them. But World of Warcraft is one that just like I said, there's so many different interesting aspects of it.
Yeah.
Other than the role play, other than that part that I don't get.
It's like people who used to speak Klingon back in the day have evolved into like WoW.
They really haven't evolved that much, actually. When you think,
do they still do that anyways?
Oh, I'm sure they do.
And honestly, I don't think they know what they're saying. They're just clicking and knocking, and people think they're talking.
Yeah. Well, a couple weeks ago when I was on the show, I was talking about this, and I was actually talking about back when I was in high school, I got invited to play, because I used to read a lot of fantasy sci-fi novels, that kind of literature back in the day, and I got invited to, my cousin invited me to do Dungeons and Dragons with some friends of his. So I got to play D&D for one night. And they were so mad at me. Not only did they ask me to never come back, they almost kicked my cousin out of the group for bringing me.
Is it because you made fun of them?
Because I could not take it seriously. I was laughing at them most of the time. There were some points I could not breathe. I was laughing so hard. Because you walk into a room and it's basically they're in a basement, of course. You know, this dark, dank little dungeon, and you got this guy in full robe and, you know, the dungeon master up there, and you got people in costume carrying fake weapons, and I'm like, yeah, this is going to be fun.
I feel like that's a mental issue.
It's one thing to perform on stage for entertainment value. It's another thing.
But when you're doing that, you're not performing for anyone.
Yeah, that's nobody but yourself.
No. That's just like, that's your, and even when you do the LARPing live, there's not an audience that like cheers your performance. It's like the couple other weird dudes that are staring at you play your part, you know? Like, that's so, and like cosplay is a little similar, but at least when you go to like Comic-Con, there's normal people walking around and go, hey, your costume looks sweet. You take a picture,
right.
You get validation for what you built.
Well, yeah, even if you go to a Renaissance festival, there are normal people walking around that are just visiting.
Who appreciate what's happening.
That's interesting.
But when these guys go out and LARP in these woods.
Because I did, when I went to the Renaissance festival, I used to go in costume. I wore a kilt, I sat in a pub and drank and listened to the musicians. That's what.
But you know what? Like, at least you weren't playing the part of something, though. You know, you were just having fun. It's like St. Patrick's Day.
It's like, getting in the spirit of it.
But, like, you know, these dudes go out in the woods where, like, you can't find them and, like, play games and, like, sword fight with wooden dowels. And they're like, oh, like, they play dead. What adult plays dead? Like, even these Civil War reenactors.
There are some nights at work I wish I could play dead.
Just lay down.
Yeah,
and
it's like, I'm done. But the problem is I work in a hospital, so they'd cart me off to the ER and I'd get hit with a huge bill. Yeah.
Well, like
if they just pretend to fix me, I'd pay with the pretend money and we'd be good. But no,
like the Civil War LARPer reenactor guys. They don't call it LARPing; they're just reenacting. But like, guess what?
It's called Civil War LARPing. That's hilarious.
That's basically what they're doing. Like,
sorry, that just hit me.
Because all it is, they're the original LARPers.
You are absolutely correct.
And like
That's
everyone's like that was like no, like you don't. All they reenact is the Civil War. There's like a World War II reenactors. They don't go over to
that would be weird.
yeah, and like start falling on the beach. You know, like
That would be
didn't
fantastic.
make it again. Like
I think Civil War reenacting just started in the South, where they were hoping they could win that time.
yeah, like you're not like guess what? You're always going to lose. So like I don't know. It's like change sides. Like play different ends of it. I don't know. That's whatever.
World War II reenactment. That's a bad idea right there. Oh man, that's funny stuff. I had never really thought about it, but that should be a thing. We should start doing that. We should
World War II reenacting.
yeah, we should start doing.
Well, we better get our hands on a bunch of planes because they're going down.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but there's no World War One reenacting. There's no Vietnam reenactment.
Yeah,
That doesn't happen.
In 200 years, we reenact the Iraq War. Like we're like just going to go to the desert and like fight people. Like no, it's not going to happen. So why is the Civil War? Why is that the one? You know what? Because it was only us.
Right.
So
Yeah,
like we're fighting ourselves.
Everything else, it feels like, because nobody wants to be Jewish in a World War II reenactment. You just don't.
No.
You know, it would be.
Where's the one dude who's like, I'm Hitler?
Right, but there's going to have to be. If you're going to do a reenactment, there's always when you do a Civil War LARPing, there's
Civil War. That's we should.
I'm not going to call it reenactment anymore.
It's LARPing.
When you do a Civil War LARPing, there's going to be a General Lee. There's going to be a defeated side.
But guess what? Are those what do you call it? Since they're getting all the statues taken down and all like the Civil War stuff taken out, like trying to like erase it. Now, are people going to be against the reenactments because they dress like them and they're doing the same motions as them?
That's a good question because
that's where stupidity.
Yeah,
people are like, this statue's offensive, but we're going to go out next week and redo it. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I don't think the ones that want the statues down are the same ones doing the reenacting.
But their dad
the
probably does. Or their grandpa probably does it.
Yeah, probably.
You know?
They just can't talk them out of it yet. So what's been going on with you, Travis? I never thought that would take that turn right there.
I'm a stand-up LARPer. I love action role-play comedy.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not even real. It's fake.
So it's not you. That's a reenactment of another comedian.
Yeah,
I've done that before.
Of this guy named Travis Charles.
Yeah. Was he funny?
Yeah, back in the early 2000s, he was. He was hilarious.
Awesome. So, what made you decide to quit comedy and start reenacting it?
I don't know. I got bored.
Bored with comedy, or just
no? Well,
it's kind of like Warcraft. I got bored with the game, decided to try role playing. You got bored with comedy, decided to try to role play as a comic.
Yeah.
It's a different aspect of the same game. That's how it works.
Pretty much. That sounds like an Andy Kaufman thing. Like he would just come back and play himself. No, I'm just pretending to be me.
Yeah, as opposed to being the unknown comic with a bag over his head.
Yeah.
Wasn't that a speculation about him?
That was him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't understand why some celebrities get that whole they're not dead. They're still around. Like him, Elvis.
Jim Morrison.
Yeah, that's like, oh no, they're still alive. No, they're not. They're dead.
Yeah, they're gone.
Tupac. People they found Tupac in like what was it? The Bahamas or something, or somewhere like Jamaica, like living, and like the dude had the same tattoos Tupac had, and he was aged appropriately for what Tupac would have aged, and he's like outside like just drinking a beer. I'm like, that's not Tupac. That's some dude who looked like Tupac,
right?
Who's like, I'm going to do this to myself,
right? I'm going to capitalize on this,
and yeah, I mean, there's lookalikes everywhere, but
right.
I hope someone does it to me. I hope I get famous enough that one day when I die, they think that I'm still alive. I don't know.
Do you want lookalikes?
I think I have some. Like I get questioned all the time of like people stare at me and or talk to me like they know me, and I'm like, I don't know you. And they're like, yeah, and they have these whole stories of what we've done together. And I'm like, no, wasn't me.
You sure you weren't just really drunk when it happened?
No, I've never been drunk or high or anything. So like anytime a story comes about to where they're like, we had some drinks, or like had a girl one time said,
never been?
No. Nope.
Wow.
I know, right? I look the part.
How did you get into comedy?
See, I've talked about this before with people. Like, most comics get into stand-up because either A, they're depressed, they're anxious, or like they had bad upbringings, or whatever. They have an underlying issue to make them want that acceptance, you know? And everyone's like, oh, most comics are all messed up. And I'm like, not really. Yeah. Like, when I grew up, my parents loved me. We had good birthdays, Christmases, you know, every holiday.
That'll screw a fella up.
Yeah. It makes you a horrible human being. You know, it makes you unsensitive, apparently.
Yeah, exactly.
But, like, I mean, nothing bad happened. I went to high school, had friends. Like, everybody was my friend. I mean, I got picked on a little bit, but I didn't care. You know, I've always been big. And, like, I had the nickname. I don't know. I shouldn't even say this on the radio. I mean, it's not bad. But, like, I got called Lumpy when I was a kid.
I can see that.
Yeah. It was like, yo, Lumpy. And I'm like, it would hurt my feelings, but I didn't care enough to, like, get upset about it. And I was like, and even as a child, I was like, it'll go away. They'll stop calling me Lumpy one day.
Never did they?
No, it did. Like, it's about from like 7 to like 10 in the neighborhood I grew up in. And it just went away one day. And then, like, so, of course, I developed a sense of humor as a kid. I always told jokes on the playground, all the jokes I heard my parents' friends say, which were not appropriate for kids. Right. But for some reason,
that's
children,
why they love them.
For some reason, children still laughed at the punchlines. Like, there's jokes I can't do on this radio.
No idea.
No. And then I started getting the nickname Joke. I'm the Joke Man at like 11 outside of the playground.
That's better than Lumpy.
Yeah. So I graduated from Lumpy to Joke Man. And I would tell all these dirty jokes as a kid. And I think that's why my style is dirty now, because I remember as a child or a kid getting laughs from these adult material. Like, man, like, this is fun. I like people laughing at the words. And then it took me another 14 years after that to attempt stand-up comedy, but I started watching a lot of it. You know, probably about age 15, I started watching like Robert Schimmel and stuff like that on, you know, the Rodney Dangerfield specials they would have on HBO where like Tim Allen would be on it and like all these guys. If you look at the old special, my brain goes random. If you look at the old specials, like the Rodney Dangerfield presents stuff, almost every comic that was on those shows became famous.
Right.
Like, there's very few that didn't make it, you know? So, like, why did that change? So, like, now you can have a special on HBO and have 20 comics and maybe 2 dudes might wind up being something bigger. Right. But literally back in the 80s and 90s, if you were on a special, like a HBO or Showtime or whatever they had, you were literally almost guaranteed to go up in your career. But that's all gone now.
I think that's because of the oversaturation. It's Comedy Central and, you know, all the Netflix specials. That's another reason it's hard to get people out to clubs, is because they can sit at home.
But I also think back in the day, people were more harsh. Like, comics were harsher to each other as like, you're not funny.
Yeah.
You're not on my show. You're not funny. Versus what happens today of the pat on the back when you see them eat it.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh no, man, it was the audience. No, it was you. It was you 100%.
Most of the time. Yeah.
You control what you're saying. If it doesn't cue laughter, you didn't do it right. Like, now I will agree sometimes audiences are strange.
Yeah.
And there's a weird, maybe like something in the air that night, because the show last Friday I did a guest spot on. Every comic set went almost exactly the same. Quiet, big laugh, no laugh. Big laugh, quiet, no laugh. It was like a weird, almost like a heartbeat of a show. And the MC, both
as
guest
long
spots,
as it doesn't stop.
the feature and the headliner, it was literally like, we're all like, where do you guys want to be as an audience?
Right.
So sometimes I feel like maybe one group can control the rest of the crowd. You know? I kind of think that happens.
I've seen that. I've seen that where you'd have a big party in there and they kind of, you know, if they don't like something, then
no one else does.
Because laughter is contagious.
Yeah.
So, yeah, get a bunch of laughs. The best thing you can do is find the biggest group in there and figure out what makes them laugh.
Yep.
All right, I'm going to hit the comedy rundown, and then we're going to play a little Potter's Field and take a quick break. But here's this week's comedy rundown, brought to you by the legendary Wiley's Comedy Club at 101 Pine Street in Dayton's historic Oregon District. Call 224-JOKE or go to wileyscomedy.com for all the best in Dayton comedy. Thursday, February 15th, Valentine's Date for a Cause is at Wiley's Comedy Club at 101 Pine Street in the Oregon District. Now, this is a fundraiser and networking event. The comedy show starts at 7 p.m. After the show, you can hang out and mingle with other Wright State students and area professionals until 11 p.m., have some laughs, and, make some connections. But you don't have to hang out. You can just come and drink and watch the show and then leave if you want. I mean, I don't, I'm not telling you what to do with your time, other than go to the show. You should do that. Also Thursday, February 15th, open mic at the Hookah Bazaar at 958 Patterson Road in Dayton. That show starts at 10 p.m. Sign-ups if you want stage time. That starts at 9:30. Also on Thursday, Preacher Lawson is going to be at the Dayton Funny Bone at 88 Plum Street at the Green, if I can talk. Friday through Sunday, February 15th through the 18th, Tammy Pescatelli is going to be at the Dayton Funny Bone. And Friday and Saturday, the 16th and 17th, Dave Dugan is at Wiley's Comedy Club. And Sunday, February 18th, Wiley Sunday Comics is back at Wiley's Comedy Club. That show starts at 8 p.m. Also, a late entry that I put on my sheet after the fact because I didn't know it was going on. Saturday, February 17th, 7:30 p.m. at the VFW Post at 116 North Main Street in Union, Ohio. There's a comedy show going on up there with Dave Glarden, Karen Jaffe, Brock Shank, Jack Wilson, and Mike Canistero. So sounds like a good show right there. That is it. As always, I got messed up. I went off script.
Uh-oh.
That's what happens. When I go off script, I screw it up.
That's all right.
Anyway, I do want to mention that March 15th at Wiley is going to be the first ever The Life Radio Show Presents, and we're going to be headlined by Adrian Cosby. It's going to be a podcast central theme in comics, not a podcast comedy show, and it's not going to be a podcast. It's going to be comics with podcasts, if that makes any sense at all, which probably doesn't. As always, check out wileyscomedy.com, DaytonFunnyBone.com for details and tickets to upcoming shows. I do have to give a couple of shout-outs. First of all, Rachel and Joe, thank you for listening. Joe, let her listen. She can't help it. I have to have at least one regular listener, and if it happens to be Rachel, that works for me.
There you go.
So, also, don't forget to tune in to Raider Up tomorrow here on WWSU starting at 12:15 p.m. It's got a lot of good things to give away and a lot of silliness. And since it's Valentine's Day, there are a lot of bake sales going on around campus. And of all the bake sales, you don't want to miss the one over in Millette Atrium of from the English Club, because the English Club puts on the best bake sale on campus.
Nice.
And that's going on till 4 p.m. So get over there. If you're seeing somebody, get over there and buy her some treats. If you're not seeing somebody, get over there and eat yourself until you just start crying and go to sleep lonely.
Well, see you later, Don.
That's good advice. Well, I was hoping they're till 4, so you can finish the show and then head on over. So.
I'm good.
Anyway, that's it for the comedy rundown. I'm going to play a little Potter's Field, and we will be back here shortly.
Way down
you're beating on inside of me. You burn me, quiet inside. Why inhale you? No reason. This fever does not have a cure. You're like a drug in a raging fire inside of me. For you I am down on my knees. You burn me, light inside. Why inhale you? No reason. The hands of time. That's not terror. Change these words. Lasting withdrawal. Feeling you inside of me. You're behind, surprising me. You are my fetish. You help me breathe. You are my vision. You are my dying. I feel your beating on inside out. Feeling you inside of me. You're behind, surprising me. You are my fetish. You help me breathe. You are my vision. You are my dying. Feeling you inside of me. You're behind, surprising me. You are my fetish. You help me breathe. You are my vision. You are my dying. Feeling you inside of me. You're beating high, confessing
All right, we are. Let me stop that right there. We are back on the air on the show, the Life Radio show. I still don't know where we are. We've been in here for 40 minutes, and I have no clue where we are.
We're somewhere in Ohio.
We're somewhere in Ohio. We are at WWSU 106.9 FM studio in Wright State. I'm your host Don Smith, sitting in with with Lumpy.
Thanks. You know what, man?
We're bringing it back.
You know what? I'm going to regret saying that.
Travis Charles is my guest in the studio with me. I apologize, couldn't help myself. We've been touching on just about every subject, from bad nicknames to Valentine's Day to World War II reenactment and Civil War LARPing.
War LARPing. Yes.
We've been hitting it all today. But you had some wonderful messages off the air from your ex.
Oh, boy. Yeah, and she's been trying to call me, so let's so my ex is really funny. She sends me things for Valentine's Day. And here's the first thing she sent me from an ex on Valentine's Day. Roses are red, violets are blue. Thank God I'm no longer married to you.
That's love. That's a nice thought. Yeah.
And then she sent me Jimmy Fallon dressed as the woman, the ooh girl. It goes, roses are red, violets are ew. And then I'm going to celebrate Valentine's Day Han style, solo.
It's all thoughtful.
And then I'm not even a sniper, but I want to take you out. That's a good one.
I'm not even a sniper, but I want to take you out.
Yeah. So like
that could be seen as a threat too.
Yeah. Well, do you have a date for Valentine's Day? Yes. February 14th.
Well, that's today.
And then the last one was roses are red, violets are blue. Vodka is cheaper than dinner for two.
That it is.
She's a poet. Didn't even know it.
That's fantastic.
These are all memes she found. She probably Googled
well, yeah, I'm sure,
bad Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
So, well, I used to be.
Hey, well, do you have any Valentine's Day tips for any young, because we're the old guys here. This is we're in a college. Everybody's younger. Do we have any tips to share with these younger
I would
gentlemen?
spend more money on dinner than I would flowers.
Yes. Well, here's the thing with flowers. Flowers only count if she has a job and you send them there.
Yeah.
If you buy her flowers and hand them to them, nobody sees, they don't count.
Her
you
friends
just
have
wasted
to see
your
them.
money. And it's not even her friends, because her friends, if they see them, they go, oh, but it's the ones that they don't like in the office that see them and get jealous.
Yeah.
Those are who those flowers are for.
Yeah.
That's
you have to literally so if you're going to give your girl flowers just as a gesture, like before dinner, like give them to her in private, there's a small bouquet is just as nice as the $200 bouquet, because they're going to die and they're going to get thrown in the trash.
Right. And
so
you wasted your money.
If you want to send them to work,
didn't really get full credit.
If you want to send them to her work or her class or whatever you guys want to, the bigger the better.
Oh yeah.
Because then she's going to be like,
that's the only way to get full credit for even buying them.
Yeah.
Is to send them to, wherever the most people in her life are going to see them.
Yeah. Well,
because I got them on the way to where my wife works right now. Hopefully sometime today.
Yeah.
It's when they're supposed to be
there. She gets off early. They show up when she's left.
Yeah.
It's like, you didn't send me nothing. Some lady Carol in accounting takes them. These are hers.
Yeah. So I apologize to all the husbands of her coworkers who didn't send flowers to their wives at work. I just made you look bad.
Yeah.
Again,
did you do 1-800-Flowers, or did
too.
you do like a flower shop around here?
This time I did 1-800-Flowers just to try them out. Last time for her birthday, I sent her a big bouquet there. She had no idea it was coming until it got there. And
I think it'd be funny to send one of the funeral wreaths to an ex. But like
that would be great.
All black roses. Yep. With a big old thumbs up emoji in the middle of it. Like, I'm glad you're gone.
Yep, you're out.
Yep.
I haven't thought about doing it. Actually, I get along with my ex-wife. We don't talk, so that's
I get along with mine too.
Way.
We have kids, and like
yeah, you have to. See, I didn't have kids with.
We didn't have like a fight type breakup separation. It was just more.
You
of
just didn't come home one day.
That's
why she's sending you messages?
Yeah.
She's like, "Where are you?
You've been gone for a year." Like, I'm just riding the street doing Don's radio.
No. Always have some excuse. I got a show tonight. I can't.
What was I getting ready to say? Stupid. No, like, I don't know. Like, what if, okay, this is what I'm waiting for now. What if the culture that's offended by everything nowadays starts saying that you shouldn't send flowers because it makes everyone else in the office feel bad?
Yeah, that's true. It's going to make them feel like they're not as important.
And they're not. No.
So anymore, if you send your wife flowers to where she works, you have to buy flowers for everybody.
It's like
elementary
in the office. School now.
Yeah, it's a participation flowers.
Yes.
You get a participation bouquet.
Thanks for trying. Better luck next year. No, because like in schools now, if you want to bring Valentine's cards or candy for one person, you have to buy the entire class. Like, that's confusing.
No, not really, because that's teaching kids at a young age that love is expensive. Don't do it.
Well, that's one good. Well, no, they're not paying for it.
That's true.
They're teaching them that, hey, if you want to buy your girlfriend something, tell your parents to pay for it.
They're teaching them to play the field.
Yeah. So it's like, here's one for Larry. Hey, buddy. And here's one for and Amy. No, like, I don't know, man. Like,
Here,
like,
Larry. Wink,
yeah,
wink.
wink, wink. Playing kickball later, huh? Like, I feel like if everything keeps, like, I get so mad because I can't articulate some of my thoughts like properly without going super weird.
Right.
Like,
hey,
I get really mad when people get offended by gestures or they get offended by what we grew up as normal behavior.
right.
You know, like it just makes me steam that I can't literally put into words what I want to say. It's how mad it makes me. So I just sound dumb sometimes when I start explaining myself and they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I don't know. Just stop doing whatever that was. Like,
Stop getting offended
this whole
by my childhood.
yeah, PC
'Cause
stuff. And like,
that's what it is. It's
and like,
making
I guess I wonder if that makes it tough. Like this is a college campus. There's probably a good portion of kids who don't care. They don't care if it's like offensive stuff. There's probably another group that's like, wah, you know, but
and the ones that are like, wah, are always the most vocal. You know why?
Yeah.
Because the rest of them don't really care.
they don't care. They don't care enough to just let them say what they want,
Yeah.
you know? But I don't know. I feel like a lot of stuff's getting.
See, I'm surprised we haven't had, students picketing outside the big window here. When
they're
I'm
too
on
busy
the air.
being offended by something else to listen
That's
to the radio
true.
show.
That's true. Well, yeah. Yeah. Well, besides, it's only like broadcast within, a couple feet of the
Yeah.
station. You get down the hallway either
You're
direction.
going to get some
you
kid
lose
one day
it.
run by the window and start smacking them going, you can't say
Yeah.
that.
I'd invite him in.
Come
put
in
him
and
on the air.
interview.
It's
Come
like,
interview with
come on in.
us. I didn't mean to smack the thing.
Oh, that's all right. Who needs
Yeah.
sound quality?
What's that tinging noise?
Yeah,
It's
it
John
happens.
Morris flipping his phone.
Yeah,
He
there
does
you
that
go.
on our podcast.
Does he?
The other day, he had his drink in his hand, and he was smacking it on the table. I reached over and grabbed it and threw it in the trash. He goes, what are you doing? I'm like, you can hear that
Yeah.
on the show. He goes, I'm a fidgety person. I went, play with your belly. Like, it's quiet. Like, there's no sound
Yeah,
there.
and you got plenty there.
Yeah.
There's
So,
all
like-
kinds of material.
And Joe is in there, and he's in there taking the chairs apart. Like, he's sitting there like pulling bolts. He goes like, he goes, I really want this arm to come off. And like, he rips the arm. I'm like, what? What are you doing? It's like, I think it's just his obsession with building and taking apart Legos goes into everyday life.
So the lesson is don't start a podcast with people that are ADHD.
Well, no, they're good conversationists, but like, they just have these things they have to do. And Joe's like, I really want to take this microphone apart. And he's like like taking like screws out and stuff. He goes, oh, that's too easy. And like, then he puts it back. I'm like, what are you doing? And he starts moving the boom, and he's like, he goes, I'm the sound effects guy. It's funny.
Well, I'm glad Joe does that, not just on my radio show, because he was in here the one day just pounding on the desk, moving the mic, do it. Yeah.
John had a click pen, one of those click.
Oh.
I'm like, stop. He goes, what? Like, stop it. Like, just stop. Like you interrupt my train of thought. It's not always a good one, but you're interrupting it. Like,
Right. Well, yeah, you get on a roll on a show. You don't want a bunch of background noise.
Yeah.
And being a podcast, you'd kind of have to minimize that.
Yeah.
But
I would recommend, though, if you do search our podcast, if you are easily offended, you're not going to like it. So, what you should find us. It's called In the Red Podcast.
the Red Podcast. It's on iTunes and
iTunes and SoundCloud. We also have it on. I'm gonna make sure I give you the right Twitter handle, because you can follow us on Twitter at @the_red_podcast. So follow us, because we've only got 5 followers right now.
that's terrible.
Yeah, and
Follow the Red Podcast.
the red_podcast, because that's all I could get. Because in the red podcast was too many characters.
Really?
Yeah, like one character too much. So the underscore took out one of them. So just the red_podcast. It works.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's close enough.
Yep.
Oh, do we want to hit some news stories?
Sure.
Before, because you said hopefully Ed John's on the way in.
Well, I'm messaging him again because he commented, but he didn't say he was coming. So
I get that. That's I've been posting to try that. That's one of the reasons I've kind of like my booking of guests on the show has kind of been lapsed lately, because I'll put it up there and nobody sends me a message. They just comment on the thread. It's like, no, it says in the message, send me a message.
yeah,
It doesn't say like.
give me a thumbs up.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, well, we'll hit some news stories for a little bit here. Let's see what we got. Oh, well, here's just the place I love that I got this news story from. This is out of Peterhead, Scotland.
Is that a real place?
I guess so. You don't want to toy around with tigers, which is why police in Peterhead, Scotland, sprang into action Saturday night. It started when local farmer Bruce Grubb called the Northeast Police to report the presence of a large, fearsome cat with stripes on his farm. I got the fright of my life, Grubb told the Scottish Sun. That was probably, got the fright of my life. The creature appeared to be crouched on a ramp in Grubb's barn. Officers immediately dispatched several vehicles, including an armed response team, to the farm. In addition, police contacted a nearby wildlife park to check if a tiger might have escaped. There was a 45-minute standoff before officers realized the tiger in question was a giant stuffed toy. So that's a good use of public resources right there.
Like,
Got the fright of me life.
good thing I had on me kilt.
Yeah.
Whatever accent that was.
You don't want your kilt on going up against a tiger.
No, but you know what? Like, I think I could tell the difference between a real tiger and a stuffed animal. Like,
I would hope. Now that whatever there are pictures on the internet of this tiger where they had somebody actually did a.
Was it a taxidermied tiger?
No, it was
just a big stuffed animal.
Just a stuffed animal,
like from FAO Schwartz,
yeah.
Just a big old.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there are pictures. I mean, from a distance close enough as close as I'd want to get to an actual tiger. It could be a toss. It could be a toss up.
I feel like if you didn't hear
but
it
the
growl,
fact that it sat there, because it was sitting, it wasn't laying down, it was sitting up. So the fact that it sat there for that long, it's like, that's probably not real.
Then he was like, then he remembered, I won that at the fair last week.
Oh yeah, that was a drunken night there. That was
20 pints winner, tiger.
See, I just have to wonder if somebody went up there and put it there just to mess with him. See, because there's got to be more to this story than just, it's a 45-minute standoff for a stuffed animal.
Yeah, I don't know. That seems like a, I don't know.
Maybe he just did it for attention. It's
is this on the
like
Onion?
The balloon boy thing.
The balloon boy?
But anything out of Peterhead, Scotland, it's got to be.
Peterhead, Scotland.
Peterhead.
Come on down to Peterhead.
It's just south of Peterhead.
Don't look up my skirt. You might see what town I'm from.
Yeah, that's where the town gets its name. Yes.
Welcome to Peterhead, right next up to Upskirt City.
Yep. They have shorter kilts in Peterhead.
Yeah, that's kind of gross. They're like leather kilts. Yeah. They're like little short, like mini kilts.
Yep, the old folks home is called ball sack.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just what you can see out of the kilt.
That's not even good.
Oh,
my mini kilt fell off.
That's terrible. Anyway, we're going. Well, an experienced hunter in Maryland wound up in the hospital on Thursday after a recently shot Canadian goose fell out of the sky and landed on his head. The falling bird knocked Robert Milehammer unconscious. He had been out hunting geese with 3 friends near the Miles River in Easton, Maryland. I didn't know it was legal to hunt Canadian geese.
I mean, is there?
I know it's not here.
Do they have like a little flag hanging off their foot so you know which one's which when you're shooting at it?
Yeah. Yeah,
to me, they
you
all
got to
look
check
the same.
their passport.
Yeah, it's like, what are you?
Well, that's the kind of goose that looks like that. Is a Canadian.
They're all Canadian goose.
Yeah, they're all.
So
they're
what
all
does
Canucks.
what does an American goose look like?
I don't know.
It's got a Big Johnson T-shirt on.
Yeah. Yep, they're just different culture, you know. The only place it really gets confusing is like Minnesota because you can't tell from the goose's accent whether it's Canadian or not. Anyway, he'd been out hunting geese at the Miles River in Easton, Maryland around 5 p.m. when someone in the group shot and killed the bird. Milehammer was seriously injured in the incident. Officials reported he was in stable condition and recovering in a shock trauma unit. These birds weigh nearly 10 to up to 14 pounds, according to a spokeswoman for Maryland Natural Resources Police. They actually have, see if the police were out taken care of these foreign geese. Foreign geese, there wouldn't have been a problem.
Foreign gooses.
Yeah. Foreign gooses. That means getting struck by one falling from the sky can mean severe damage. The deceased goose also knocked out two of Milehammer's teeth.
Was he looking into the sky smiling?
Yeah. Hey! Good shot!
He was like, Fabio's my hero. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Fabio got hit in the face by a goose at Kingston Minion in Virginia. No, Busch Gardens in Virginia.
I do remember
Guess
that.
that's where I'm from. That's where I'm from. I remember on local news, model Fabio hitting the face by a goose. I remember as a kid being like, that's hilarious. That the only male model to ever ride this roller coaster gets smacked in the face by a goose.
Yeah. Like
he had blood all
goose
over his
had it
face when he
coming,
came to the stop, and he was just like looking like what happened? Like it broke, like his face broke the goose's neck. Like,
oh.
So yeah, that's what you get for being on all those romance novels.
Yep, it was Fabio, so, the goose was just in love. It was a big fan.
I feel like if a goose is free falling to you, you're going to hear flap, like the feathers going, like something coming in your direction. You go like, what is that? Before it hits you in the face.
Yep, he was reaching in the cooler. And they said, look out! And he looked up instead.
Who shot it?
Duck! No, it ain't.
Yeah. Like, either he shot the thing or one of his
friends shot
Okay, you see, see, he shot there.
Yeah,
oh, we
you
got
heard the gunshot. It had to
Here
have
it
been
comes.
there.
Like,
Yeah.
just staring at it the whole time it's coming. Like, that seems like an accident.
And again, I feel like there's more to this story.
Maybe. His friends held him there until they smashed him in the head.
Somebody didn't like him.
Or they were like, see if he can hit you in the head. See what it feels like.
Yeah, well, that's
like
what it
Jackass.
was. They already had the goose. It hit the ground. They picked it up and smacked it with it because they were reenacting a Monty Python.
They were goose hunt LARPing.
Yeah, they were what?
Goose hunt LARPing.
Goose. Yeah, I'm going to use this like a foam sword. So anyway, I think we're going to have to take a little break. Just because it's about the top of the hour and the FCC always, flashes on my screen and says you need to take a break.
Really?
They put some new program in here, which I actually kind of like because that way I have an excuse to take a break because it tells me to. So we're going to take a little break. I think if I hit all the right buttons, we're going to take a little break and we will be back here shortly. Thanks for listening to the Life Podcast. Check us out on Eventide Entertainment's Podcast Network. Remember, if you want to listen live, we're on Wednesdays from noon to 2 p.m. on WWSU 106.9 FM, or you can always stream the show live at wwsu1069.org. If you have suggestions or comments for the show, feel free to email us at thelife1069@gmail.com.
Presence overwhelms me. The brutal presence overwhelms me.
What was I getting ready to say? Stupid.